nightmare has arrived. The son of a dream looking to realize his destiny in WWE. Multiple tag team and intercontinental championship reigns during his first run here in WWE. But now that the prodigal son has returned, Cody Rhodes has reached main event status.
The foe is scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring from Atlanta, Georgia, weighing in at 200.
Konnichiwa, 皆さん。I, グレートオーカー、ユナイテッドエンパイア。今日は試合があった。そして彼がエンパイアの応援してくれるんですよ。みんな、ブローキンテーブルポッドキャストよろしく。
I hear the battle cry under the devil's sky. The one-winged angel screams. It fuels my hopes and dreams. The best
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Broken Tables podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Vegas, here as always with our reigning, defending Broken Predictions champion, King Rome, with his beautiful can of liquid death there, I see. How you doing tonight, sir?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. I would like to real quickly, before we get into the show, as you know, I am currently throwing together a little shindig, a little tournament, the King's Court Invitational, and I would like to announce the first entrant of the night, or the third official entrant to open the show. I would like to formally welcome to the tournament Coach Nick. Coach has been a competitor in this division for a long time. He's made it further than most. He's made it to the championship, match, to the big dance. He's been there before. And I know that he will go throughout this tournament in a way unlike Lamar Jackson, which is, when you're in the playoffs, act like you've been there. So congrats to Coach Nick.
Oh, man. Well, I'd like to welcome everybody in our chat as well. We got the Coog and we got Jordan. Thank you guys very much for being here with us tonight. We're going to start off tonight with a little bit of AEW amazing news. Tony Khan has set records for AEW with ticket sales of, I believe it's upwards of 45,000 now in the pre-sale for Wembley Stadium. Is that correct?
Based off his last count, I believe he said 43,000.
43,000 tickets pre-sale.
So 9 hours ago, he said that it was 43,000 tickets sold with a gate currently of 5.7 million. Just for those that aren't aware, the highest grossing gate in Europe is the Clash at the Castle, which did 8.1 million last year. So they're very, very definitely breaking that.
Yeah, I mean, they're already at around 6 million. I think Taz said it tonight on the air. He said they're somewhere around 6 million already. This is a massive, massive win for Tony Khan. And some people were speculating like, they're only going to sell around 10,000 tickets on their pre-sale. It's going to be a humongous flop. And man, have you seen how some of the accounts that said stuff like that are even deleted now? Like, people literally deleted their accounts because their takes were so bad.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have seen that, and I think you're going to continue to see it. This company has always dealt with this adversity. They've always dealt with the cults from the other side who are bad faith haters who just want to see it fail because it's not WWE. And that's what it's always been. But at the end of the day, All In is shaping up to, it already is a big success. And it's shaping up to be a historic moment for the company and for Tony and for wrestling fans. I mean, like, look, man, like I've talked about it before. I've said it before that AEW is important to me because I was there since day one. I was in, and I was like, I'm all in, pun intended.
Yeah.
And also it came along at a time where my love of pro wrestling was dead. It was over
It
for
was
me, pretty much
beaten out of you.
being out of me. And so AEW is always really important to me. Again, and also being like a fan from day one, you feel like you're part of the movement. And to see, Tony go and sell already 43,000 before the official general public sale goes live. Um, no matches announced for the card. They've sold half their tickets, and I think that they could very very easily sell the rest of these tickets out. Tony's swinging for the fences, and I was talking to Coog in the Discord the other day about it, and that's what this is all about. All In is swinging for the fences. The original All In, they said, "Oh, you can't sell 10,000 seats to an indie show," and they fucking did it. And it's just they kept everything that they were told they couldn't do. They've gone and surpassed it. They've sold more. They've broken the gate and the ticket sales for the Georgia Dome show, which is WCW's highest grossing show. I don't count the Korea show because number one, we have no way to officially track those numbers.
Yeah.
And number two, it was mandatory that all those North Koreans were in that stadium, so I just don't count it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But if you take the North Korea show out, the Georgia Dome in '98 is their biggest gate, and AEW smashed that. So,
It's
um,
amazing.
and they're 4 years old. I mean, I saw a really interesting factoid today that WWE didn't do shows of this magnitude until they were around for like 30 years.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And like AEW's going in year 4. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a great moment for the company. I'm really happy for the company, and
Me
uh,
too.
it's just a feel good moment. It's been a great 24 hours on Twitter. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely my sentiment as well. Speaking of Twitter, so we had a gentleman on Twitter named Mike, what's it, Copeland, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Basically came out and tried to say the stadium is only set up for around the 45,000. And Tony Khan immediately came out like, this is absolutely not true. And you can go ahead and tell your boss, Nick Khan. Do you have the tweet up in front of you? I don't have it up here in front of me.
I'm trying to pull it up for you real quick. Give me
Hang on
one
one second. I believe I have it over here somewhere.
I had it. I did have it. Just trying to find it.
So Mike Coppinger said, hearing Wembley is scaled for only $40K for AEW, a far cry from last April when I was ringside for Tyson Fury, Dillian White, and it was packed to the brim with 94,000 people. Nothing beats the big fight feel at Wembley. Tony Khan says, since you carry the credentials of a credible reporter and represent the worldwide leader, I'm just curious, who was your source for this? And how can a reporter representing ESPN tweet something about a legit news story that's so blatantly wrong and easily identified as a falsehood? But before Tony said that, he said lies. What a load of crap. Tell your agent Nick Khan to shove it up his ass. That's what I was looking for. And my goodness, man, Tony Khan is an absolute monster on Twitter sometimes. He doesn't hold back. People think, oh, I don't like the way he comes at people on Twitter. He says too much, but no, man, Tony Khan keeps it real. And I appreciate that in an owner of the company that I, devote a lot of my time to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree, and I also do hear the arguments. I know that some people, even in the Discord, say that they don't like it when Tony Khan goes this route. But here's the thing: you got to understand, right? So, um, this kook from ESPN, right? he has ties with Nick Khan. He is being fed these things from Nick Khan to say. The thing is that WWE is so disingenuous and so shady and so disgusting that they won't publicly say these things, but they are going to put these things out there. It's why you have like the Ariel Helwanis. I forget his name. He's such a fucking loser. But like, and people like that. It looks like my camera went off, Jeff. Is that
Yeah,
fixed?
it was just because I had to go to get that tweet. If I leave your screen, it disappears
you.
for whatever reason.
I gotcha. But so you see all of these puppets who are just spewing the lines that they are being fed to them, and like that's the WWE's way of doing this. So no, I would much rather Tony Khan be like, no, fuck you, that's not true publicly, and like I don't want Tony to have to do the same thing. It's disingenuous as fuck. Why would you want Tony
Exactly.
Khan to do that? So no, I am very happy that Tony Khan handles things the way he does. He knows better. Not better in a sense of what he's doing is wrong, but he knows where Mike's coming from when Mike says something like that. He knows that him and Nick go back. He knows that Endeavor and ESPN are friends. He knows all of these things. So like at the end of the day, folks, it's like I said, we are in the middle of a wrestling war. It just depends
Yeah.
on how you want to play that war. And I would much rather Tony Khan's way of like, hey, I'm gonna come to the table and I'm gonna lay my cards out when it's time, and I'm gonna tell you everything. I'm not gonna slide something under the table. There's no smoking gun. Like that's what it is.
Yeah. We got Ed in chat says he wishes the second response was his first. I said them backwards. He said tell Nick Khan to shove it up his ass. That was the first one. Now I understand that, Ed, but I'm trying to look at it from Tony's point of view, and I imagine there's been a lot of underhanded tactics being used by the WWE. All the tampering and stuff like that, them calling wrestlers, asking them to ask for their releases and stuff.
Right.
So I don't blame Tony when he comes off like that. You know what I mean? I feel like it's actually what's the word I'm looking for? It's actually deserved. You know what I mean? Like when he comes off like that, I feel like it's deserved a lot of the time.
Absolutely, it is. I mean, again, like these things that they do, these underhanded tactics, like that was Nick Khan's piss poor attempt to try to shit on AEW's day yesterday.
Exactly.
And it failed. It failed miserably. It completely failed. And yeah, it's just like, man, I listen, like I got out of that company for other reasons, like for quality of the show reasons.
Yeah.
But man, like I'm glad that I don't have to try to justify watching that supporting that company because they are just fucking terrible. Like what a just absolutely terrible company.
Yeah, it's just ESPN seems to be on their on the side of the WWE machine now, so looks like we're going to be fighting against ESPN now as well. So
I mean, that's fine. It is what it is. What can you do? I mean, I think that we're gonna get the TV deal sometime this month. Pro Wrestling Torch seems to think so. They signed an exclusivity agreement with Warner today. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be doing just fine without ESPN. So
yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and start off with our AEW Dynamite review from Baltimore, Maryland. And man, there was a noticeable difference between this week's crowd and last week's crowd. This crowd was absolutely into this entire episode of Dynamite. I thought this was an awesome crowd here tonight. And once again, we start off with Orange Cassidy opening the show with his music. He comes out with Bandito. I loved Bandito with the glasses on. Thought that was great. So we got Orange Cassidy, Bandito, Roderick Strong, and Adam Cole, baby, versus the Jericho Appreciation Society. Had Garcia, Hager, Matt, and Luke. This was a good match, man. They had Jericho on commentary. Jericho really, every time they put this guy on commentary, I think he really adds to the match a lot, Jericho is fantastic on commentary. I'm wondering, do you think he's going to be involved in Collision on in a commentary aspect at all?
I mean, it's possible. It depends on what they want to do. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see. I would have to think that. I think we see Paul White on the Saturday show, to be honest. I mean, because they got rid of
That's a good one.
Elevation, and that's where he was doing his commentary work. So I could see Paul White working Collision. I could see. I mean, you need a play-by-play guy, so I don't know if Excalibur would pull double duty. I could see it being like a Paul White Excalibur Taz team, or like a
I could see
something like
Matt Menard actually joining the team, you know?
See, I'm okay with Matt Menard and guys like that doing it. Like, I was okay with them doing it for like the YouTube shows because it's good to let them kind of like hone their craft a little bit to see if that's something that they could do as well. Like, it definitely makes them well rounded, which is good for the company. But I mean, once you're talking about live weekly television, I don't want to see a character who has
Ooh,
feud.
Nigel. There we go. Ed nailed it. Nigel.
Yeah, Nigel's a good one. Nigel's a good choice for that.
Yeah.
Paul White, Nigel, and maybe Taz. I think that could be a good a good team right there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so like I said, this was a great match. Bandito looked incredible here. This felt like a showcase for Bandito again, you know, now that he's got his visa and everything cleared away. He's got his time back at AEW. This felt like a Bandito match, man. He looked awesome. He winds up holding up Matt Menard and Angelo Parker, you know, in the where he holds them up in the air as long as they can. That was a great spot. Huge hot tag for Roderick Strong. You know, when Roderick
Yeah, I think we're about
when
to say
Roderick was making his way to the ring for his entrance, you could see him holding back the emotion. I felt like he was about to cry. And I swear to you, he must have wanted this for years. I think he's wanted this since Kyle left, since Bobby left, since Adam left. And the Fed basically held him hostage for these past couple years, man. And he finally made his way to AEW, and you could just see the emotion when he was coming down that walkway. Did you notice it as well?
I did. He just seemed really happy. He just seemed really happy to be there. Seemed really excited. Genuinely. Like I remember at one point Bandito did a suicida. I don't know if it was a top rope or not. But he does it, and Roderick's in the background just getting hype as fuck for Bandito doing his
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm like, it's a feel good moment. It was a really feel good moment. It's great to uh see Roderick in AEW, and I mean, I'm just gonna be real. I think both Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish will soon follow suit.
Yeah, you know, even though Bobby Fish is he's kind of on the downfalls of his career, I think this could actually give him a couple months, you know, more where I don't even remember why we hate him. Didn't he say something about CM Punk or something? I don't even remember why we dislike the guy.
So, I mean, we don't like him because Triple H called him to try to get Adam Cole and guys to, he used Bobby Fish to tamper with Cole
That's
and
right.
and
That's right.
O'Reilly.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I forgive it, but I mean, it's a layup. It's like,
Yeah.
if you have 3/4 of Undisputed Era and you just need one more guy and it's Bobby Fish, like, whatever,
I
man.
will say this though, he's definitely not needed since we have a trios division. He's most certainly not needed, you know.
He's not needed, but at the end of the day, I mean, again, it's like if you have the opportunity to complete
Yeah, if they
that,
want to.
if you have if you're one guy short, because like before when Bobby, Kyle, and Adam Cole were the three that were here, we were like, damn, it sucks that Roderick Strong is locked up for a few years because at the time we thought
Yeah.
he was locked up till 24, but no, he wasn't. He was locked up till 22. We just didn't know. But no, I
Coog
mean,
says he's never seen Roddy before. He looks good. If you didn't know Coog, his wife is Marina Shafir in AEW, so that's even another reason I'm sure he's been wanting to come over here. Yeah, absolutely. I love Roderick Strong. He got that huge hot tag. His big backbreaker that he hits looks so nasty. That would kill me, you know, with my L4 and my L5 hernias. I would be dead laying on the mat. The ref would be standing there with the X arms talking into his mic, like it'd be over. He hits an awesome he hits some awesome offense there. Adam Cole comes in with the boom, picks up the 1, 2, 3. And I didn't see Adam Cole run out of the ring. But the moment they ring that bell and they, you know, and your winner is Adam Cole, Orange Cassidy, Bandito, before they can even finish speaking, Adam Cole is attacking Chris Jericho at the commentary table, absolutely takes him out and just destroys the set behind him. I was like legitimately shocked and surprised at this. I was like, holy shit, where did this come from? But I should have seen it coming since Adam Cole was trying to make his way to Jericho the entire match. But it really got me, dude. I thought this was so freaking cool. This was a great way to end this match.
Yeah, so I thought that this was just an absolutely like such a strong opener for so many reasons. So number one, it was a fun match on its own merits. Number two, like I think these 8-man tags, if you ever have an 8-man tag on your card, you gotta open with it. Like it's the way to go. It really is.
Yeah.
Number two, there was a debut in the match, Roderick Strong's in-ring debut. So that
In-ring
also
debut,
added
yep.
to the match. You had other draws. You had Orange Cassidy there, who obviously TV rating Bandito, who's hot with every crowd he goes in front of.
Oh,
You
so
have
good.
Adam Cole, big big pop, big star. Um, and then the last thing that again this because it's such a smart opener from Tony Khan here is that also it weaves in this one of the bigger storylines in the company. This Jericho Adam Cole storyline, which has just been really good the last few weeks since it's really picked up. You have I love Jericho on commentary throughout this match, and it's kind of almost like a return to form for like chicken shit heel Jericho, which I think is the best heel Jericho, where he's just kind of like he's just like when he contradicts himself or he's a hypocrite, like that kind of Jericho. It's really funny, and I find it
Yeah.
really enjoyable. Where he's saying like Adam Cole couldn't even save his girlfriend, the woman that he loves and more than anyone in this entire world. Nothing would come between me and saving my woman and stuff like that. And Shivani's like, you handcuffed him to the ring. He couldn't do it. And he's like,
He
he
just
should have found
ignored
a
it.
way. Yeah, he just completely ignores it. It's like he if he wanted to help her, he would have. And I just love that. It just keeps needling throughout the match. And you already have that tension on Adam Cole's side, so Jericho just constantly just kind of needling that in, whether Adam Cole can hear it or not. It's great. And so, like you said, when Adam Cole wins, the second he wins, he doesn't celebrate with Roddy, even though it's his best friend in the ring with him, second best, whatever, one of his best friends. No, he rolls out of that ring and he books it to Jericho.
I didn't even think of that, man. He didn't celebrate with his best friend because he hated Jericho so bad. That's a great
It adds
catch right
to it.
there.
And like you said, it was a great brawl. It destroyed the set around them, which, again, memorable moments. You want to see memorable
Yeah.
things like that happen because it makes it special. Different environments. Like when we talk about, like I've said this before, when you have a unique venue backstage, utilize it. Do special things because different locations are more memorable. When they do those interviews in front of like the giant AEW screen, like obviously it's okay to do that. But like doing the same thing you would do, but making it more visually different and memorable, that makes it better. So like if Cole and Jericho had just fought and the guards took Cole away, it would have been a cool moment. But the fact that they had them tear that set down, like that just made it all the better. It was great.
Yeah. I thought it was great the way that set got tore down.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking awesome.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Great match. Killer opener. Absolutely killer opener.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next up we had Darby Allin and Jungle Boy, Jack Perry in the back with Renee Paquette. They basically said, this is our chance to main event Double or Nothing. If we win here tonight against MJF and Sammy Guevara, we get to main event Double or Nothing. And I absolutely loved the end here. Darby says it's showtime. That's, that's Sting's thing. Looks like it may have been passed on here. Absolutely love it.
This was short, but god damn it, I love this. So
yeah, short and sweet.
So we've given Darby a little bit of shit over the I think it was the last Four Pillars promo or segment in the ring where kind of started a little flat. His delivery here was so on point. It felt like a big match going into this promo, but it felt way bigger after this promo where, Jack's talking about, like this is like we're gonna main event a pay-per-view because of tonight. Like tonight we're finally making it, Darby. We don't like each other, but we're doing it. And Darby says, "This is it, Jack. Tonight is the night." And like his delivery, I got chills. I was like, "Holy shit!" It was really good. It again. It was a short promo. It was not a long promo. This was not a promo meant to have these conversations. It's just kind of one of those little leading into the TV, doing a quick little 30-second before the commercial, leading into the main event. That it was great for what it was. It was, man, again, like the delivery here, like I really felt like Darby and Jack were going into it like this is the biggest night of our lives right now. We gotta go in there. We gotta win this. And I
Yeah.
totally bought it. I totally bought it
Same.
completely.
100%.
Mhm.
All right. Next up, we go back into the backstage area and we see Adam Cole and Chris Jericho in the back, and Cole is being held back by a bunch of security guards, and Chris Jericho is screaming and yelling, "He's a maniac! Get him out of here! He's dangerous!
Get him
He's
outta here."
dangerous! Get him out!" And Britt Baker shows up out of nowhere and slaps the shit out of Chris Jericho multiple times, rips his shirt off, and throws him to the ground on the concrete outside. This was really good, actually. I thought this was a great continuation of this storyline they got going. Jericho was wearing the highly, what's the word I'm looking for? The shirt that of Britt Baker's. What's that word I'm looking for?
Controversial.
Controversial shirt. Many people are making this absolutely absurd accusation of supporting domestic violence. And I'm like, do you think they're trying to say Adam Cole did this? That's the dumbest thing ever. I'm like, it was obviously caused in a girl fight. How is that domestic violence?
Okay, so let's get into it now. I was gonna maybe
Please.
consider ending the show with it, but you know what?
No,
Like,
this is the perfect time because
you know,
Jericho was wearing the shirt on purpose.
okay.
And she
So
ripped it off of him.
here's the thing, folks. And usually I put the glasses on when it's like hot take or heel Rome, but no, this is just putting the glasses on because I can't bear the thought of fucking looking at stupidity of this magnitude with my bare eyes. Um, Look, here's the thing. If you are going to spend your time on the internet, number one, spending your time on the internet, like, it is what it is. It's the internet. But if you're going to sit here and you're going to spend valuable moments of your life choosing to make an issue out of a shirt of someone with a black eye over systematic racism in another company, you are part of the problem. Okay? In the same week that you're talking about WWE former writers suing the company for racism, and again, it's like we talked about when Vince first got kicked out. I was like, I'm still very skeptical about this company. And even when, after time had passed, I was like, no, it's the same company. Vince is gone, but it's the same thing. You have to burn it down. Like, the roots are rotten there. And, like, when you have, like, pitches of, like, hey, this guy's Middle Eastern and 9/11 was 20 years ago. What if his gimmick is that he was the guy behind 9/11? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Or like the parts about Bianca Belair and how they kept wanting the black writer to suggest that Bianca say certain things that would be deemed inappropriate based off the context of her race. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you that you're sitting here and you're going to make an issue out of a fucking t-shirt? I'm sorry. It's fucking ridiculous. And it's bad faith. We've said it before. It's bad faith. And while we're on the subject, like, let's talk about Louis Dangor, right? So this dude, when the racism thing drops, he's like, I'm not going to touch on this. I'm not going to touch on this systematic racist thing. I'm not even touching it. Right? And then the next day or a few days down the road, he's making a big thing about how Vice is filing for bankruptcy. He's like, well, Vice is going bankrupt, and they tried to make their legacy out of shitting on WWE. I guess because of Dark Side of the Ring or like whatever, and just like the things he picks and chooses to make an issue of. And then last night it comes out, turns out the dude's a complete creep, much like his Papa Vince. He's, I don't even like. I tried not to even regurgitate the information, but like he like tried to have a three-way with a married woman. He made a podcast, a fake podcast, just to hit on women. He had a coworker or a colleague who lost someone and tried to use their loss as like a way to get with them. Like a lot of gross, disgusting shit. And it's very fitting that this is what it is. This is that side of the fence, and it's just it's not surprising. Like, you shouldn't be surprised. None of us should be surprised.
No,
This
right.
is what the other side of the fence looks like. But, like, you still got to be appalled by it. And it's just disgusting. And I think, like, at the end of the day, if people want to make an issue out of a T-shirt in which Saraya gave Britt Baker a black eye, and they decided to use that picture for a T-shirt, in which case it's probably considered a Britt Baker shirt, so Britt's making the money off of it anyway.
Yeah.
I would assume. I mean, it's her face. I don't think it would count as an Outcast shirt, but I don't know. But if you're going to choose to make a fuss about something in the wrestling world over Twitter, maybe it shouldn't be about T-shirts. Maybe it should be about sexual predators or systematic racism in the other company. I don't know. It's just a fucking thought. That's it. I'm gonna open up this nice big other can of liquid death. Jeff, they have tall boy king
Put it
size.
put it right next to the mic. Let me hear the crack. Ah, yeah.
Look at
That's
that.
the ASMR right there.
It's look, man. We're not sponsored. I'm really not, but I
So
love it.
I'll admit, with Ed in chat, that's my only problem with the shirt is that it's just one of those stupid photos that's slapped on a T-shirt for $30. If they would have made it a little bit more official looking, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be all cool to buy a shirt of it. But I have no problem with the shirt itself. Like, people saying that it's supporting domestic violence literally have no clue what they're talking about because it was from a girl fight. Like,
my thing with it is like, I mean, yeah, you can think it's a dumb shirt, but like, who cares? It's a shirt. So like, they don't like,
exactly.
you know what I mean? Like, who cares? Like, it doesn't need to appeal to us because guess what? It was a
There you go.
meme that appeals to people, and they turned it into a T-shirt. So all right, cool. And you know what?
It's like there's plenty of legit things to criticize, and a black eyed T-shirt's not one of them.
And again, it continues to put Britt over. It looks like a badass. Like, obviously, it's a win-win for them because Saraya looks tough because she gave her a black eye, but then Britt looks tough because Britt took the black eye.
Yeah. And it does look like a shirt someone made on Etsy. Yeah, that's actually pretty funny. What up, Devin McClarity? Roman Jeff, speak the truth. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Devin. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, like I see, like take the background out. You know, remember the shirt Britt had where she had the blood dripping down her face from the awesome match with Thunder Rosa? Like, do something a little bit more effort rather than just being like, oh, hey, here's that picture Britt posted on Twitter and slapping it on a shirt. I get it, but you know.
I get it, but again, there's nothing wrong with it.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. That's where I'm getting at.
It's a plain shirt. You know? It's fine.
All right. Next up, we had the Blackpool Combat Club cutting an absolutely eerie promo here, man. Like this was like something out of an old movie like The Warriors from back in the day. Danielson starts off with his promo saying he's the best in the world. And I don't know if you noticed, but Claudio, when Danielson said, I am the absolute best in the world, Claudio kind of like did a little head turn there. And then Danielson said, if it's not me, it's one of these other three gentlemen. And then Claudio was kind of like, all right. That was a really nice little touch.
Dude, this was such a great segment. So again, like this first, like, I actually, as we go through the review, I gotta like kind of look back on it, but like everything up until the Battle Royale was like near perfection. I mean, like the Saraya Willow Nightingale match has a big problem with it that I will talk about, but I mean, so I'll just say this: everything before the Saraya Willow match was like perfect. It was just this was a really good segment. Danielson saying like we want to push people. We want AEW to be the best company of all time, and the only way we're gonna get there is if we push people. We're blades looking for iron to sharpen ourselves, says Mox.
So good.
Mox says we ain't bullies, higher levels, bigger devils. Mox says there was a time when the elite were innovative. Now, not so sure. He goes to talk about Mox and Omega next week in a cage. He says that their last match was a couple years ago. It could have been a decade ago. It doesn't matter. And he's like, we're gonna leave one hell of a mark. And I love it. It's great heel work when like you can kind of justify it's good villain. You know what I mean? When you can when the villain has a good point, and it's like there's nothing coherently wrong with anything that the Blackpool Combat Club said. It's nothing over the top bad. It's just like, hey, we're tough guys who we think we're the best, and we want everyone else to be the best they can be. And if it comes off as tough love, tough. deal with it.
Dude, what I loved about this is I mean, I'm sure we've established this before, but it definitely established it now. And it's the Blackpool Combat Club, iron sharpens iron. They're like, we're here to make this roster better. Every time someone on this roster wrestles one of us, they're going to be better afterwards. That, just the idea of that being put in my head from Danielson and Mox like that is one of the coolest ideas. And I'm sure some other people have kind of figured that out over these last few months, weeks of the Blackpool Combat Club. But for having it actually told to me and sinking in, that's such an amazing idea to do with this Blackpool Combat Club like that. I absolutely love it.
Well, I mean, again, it's the core tenets of what the group was always about. It's just now they go and they pick fights. They don't let the ones people pick fights with them. Now they pick the fights. And again, that's the dynamic of the character, and it's good storytelling. It's good character building because they didn't have to change their characters much, and that's how you know that it's good character development and you see it a lot with other groups and wrestlers in AEW is when they turn face or turn heel, a lot of times they're not really doing anything different. It was like when FTR turned face. They didn't really do anything different. They just embraced that side of them. You know what I mean? And that's good character development. It's good character design. Maybe I'm too much about talking games on Monday, so I'm just saying character design, but it's good levels of characters. It's why I love it. I love narrative and I love characters. And it just makes sense and it works and it's great. Michael Campbell in the chat says women can scrap just as well as the men. Absolutely.
Damn right. I seen some amazing fights in high school. Half of them were girls, man. Some craziness out there. All right, next up we had the Outcast Saraya versus Willow Nightingale. And man, the first thing I wrote down in this match is Willow is awesome. I don't know what it is about this girl, but her charisma is at 10 out of 10. She started the game with charisma maxed out, dude. I don't know how or why, but I can't take my eyes off of the screen when this lady is on the show. It's unreal.
The first thing that I wrote in my notes?
What?
So I'm going to give it a pass based off how it ends. But the first thing I wrote in my notes is why are these babyface women such geeks? Still coming out alone.
Yeah.
When Willow came out alone, I was just God damn it. Why are why so again, we're gonna go through my thought process as we went on. Obviously by the end it makes sense because there was a plan. But I'm sitting here why are we doing this again? I know we're trying to build time until something happens, which I guess tonight was that night. But it was just why is Willow coming out alone? Where is Riho? Where is Sky Blue? Where is any of the other babyface homegrown talent that have been backing up each other? Where are they? Why are we doing this again? And because of that, while I didn't think the match was necessarily bad, it was flawed from a storyline perspective where it's Willow kind of did this to herself. The Outcast, they played her like a fiddle. They did what they've done for the last 6 or 7 weeks. They did the numbers game and they won the match because of it. And I mean, again, there's nothing coherently wrong with the match, but when I look at it from the bigger picture, it bothered me. Totally took me out of the match. But the ending makes up for it.
That's interesting that you say that because it shows the other side of the coin here. I didn't actually notice that at all. I was just kind of sweet, Willow versus Saraya. I hope it's a good match. Didn't even occur to me that she came out alone like a geek. Yeah.
But again, in hindsight, they probably were okay, so this is going to happen after the match. We'll back you up at the end of the match. You just got to get through the match because we're gonna travel. Yeah. So it makes sense. I get it now. So I'm cool with it now. But when I was watching the match, admittedly, I was just I was like CJ from San Andreas, oh shit, here we go again. I wonder how this is gonna go. And it went exactly as I thought it would. But luckily, after the match, we got Hikaru Shida returning, which was absolutely excellent. And they pull off a great swerve, one of the best swerves I've ever seen. They got me too. I was really? She's joining the Outcast? So I guess that makes sense, but that's weird. I wasn't expecting that. But so she goes in the ring, hugs with the Outcast. They give her the spray paint, and Coach Nick's checking in. Coach, you have to go listen to the beginning of the show. Anyways, I know he will tomorrow. But so Sheeta, she looks like she's gonna spray paint them, and Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, they jump in from behind and they all jump them, and it was a swerve. Sheeta is not joining the Outcasts. They lay out the Outcasts, and Sheeta spray paints AEW across the three of their chests.
Dude, the way that they did this swerve, the camera angles were so perfect for this. So they had Sheeta come in and she put her back to hard cam and she hugged the Outcasts facing hard cam, right? So as they were hugging, behind them, you could see Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker stand up in the ring. It was just done so well. I absolutely loved this, and spraying AEW on them was so perfect. So it looks like we now have our 5 AEW girls. We seem to be missing 2 Outcasts. I'm really hoping my prediction of Trinity and Mercedes is going to be correct here.
I think there's an opportunity for it to be. I would like for it to be. We'll have to see if they go that route. I don't know. I don't know. I think they will, but again, I'm being very cautious after how it's gone so far.
Yeah.
Michael Campbell asks, "What's everyone's take on AEW All Access?" I mean, it's enjoyable. It's extra AEW content. It's reality TV, so I mean, like if you enjoy reality TV, it's definitely very good. I enjoy it for what they do show, though. I mean, like I appreciate it for what it is. Obviously, I look at it from the lens of this is still a very scripted product. But I mean, it is cool to just see people that you normally watch on AEW just kind of hanging out.
Dude, I'll admit it's not a show that I would want to do some sort of a review for. It's not anything like that, but I really enjoy,
Yeah.
because obviously it's airing right now. I'll be watching it probably tomorrow. I really enjoy putting this show on and like just kind of having it on in the background and getting something done. And if I hear something start going on that I'm interested in, I'll come sit down and watch. There's been a couple of things on All Access that I've just really, really like enjoyed quite a bit. So I very much so love All Access.
Yeah, I do too. My Wednesday tradition right now is watch Dynamite. We do the pod, and then after this, I'm gonna go and watch it.
Okay.
So that's usually what I do on Wednesdays. And yeah, I mean, I think there's only 6 episodes, and I think this is episode 4. So we're getting close to the end of the show. I guess we'll have to see what happens. I kind of just want episode 6 to be like, "Hi, I'm CM Punk," and
Right.
like just like, oh man, not going to
Yeah.
yet because he's not going to be back.
And
till
said he
June.
tried once, not for you. Can see how some people eat it up. Yeah, I just enjoy seeing some of the training, some of the, guys coming back from injury type stuff. There's a few things that I'm like, Ruby Soho accusing Ty Mello of
Yeah, that was dumb.
like
That
that
was
didn't seem real, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, let's try to keep the show real.
But what I do enjoy, so I'll do a devil's advocate right here because that is a very dumb moment in the show. Like
Yeah.
Ruby, and again, she's being told to do this for the show. I really don't think Ruby is that much of a bitch. I don't think so.
No, that'd be terrible.
I would be very surprised. She seems like a very down to earth kind of person. Um, but like on the spectrum of that, the highest of highs, it is such a cool moment to see Sammy Guevara get complimented by Bryan Danielson after their 2 out of 3
dude.
fall match, and Sammy just breaks down, and he's like, that's my fucking idol. That was my hero. I was at Subway watching this guy on WrestleMania say that I'm gonna be there one day, and now here I am. Like, and that's like it's stuff like that. Like that's really cool, and it's so again like for me, it's more AEW content and it's different AEW content.
Dude,
So I'm cool with it.
I have to say, last week's episode of All Access like completely flipped me on Sammy Guevara. Like I'm back. I'm back in on Sammy Guevara. There's my flip flops on for the night.
Well, Jeff, did you see what I put in the Discord? Can you pull up that picture? Oh God, hold on. Wait. Well, since I've prepared for this, I'm gonna send it to you. I send it to Jeffrey Vegas or Broken Tables Podcast. I forget. Jeffrey Vegas.
Jeffrey Vegas.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I put it in the Discord. So, all right, Jeff is flip flopped. Jeff, please put up this image of me, of how I feel right now inside. Thank you. There it is. I called my shot earlier in the Discord. And here we are.
Yeah. But I definitely got to say that's a good point though with All Access. It definitely gives you a look at some of these guys that you don't really get to see without watching. So great question there, Mike. Great question. So Toni Storm was casting her distraction in this match. She wound up helping Ruby Soho get pounced out of the ring by Willow. Saraya took advantage of the distraction. She hit the good night, caught the 1, 2, 3, and then we had the whole run in with Sheeta for the save. Where Sheeta, I swear, man, that was one of the best swerves that they've done. Man, I was really like, wow, Sheeta's joining the Outcast. Oh my god. But no, it's a great, absolutely great segment here. Next up was the House of Black promo, starting the open house. I loved this more than I can even tell you. The wordplay that they can come up with for House of Black and the open house challenge and house rules. The house always wins. Welcome to the open house. Like, oh my God, this is so good. I need to know who came up with this because it is absolute perfection. The House of Black essentially announcing they're doing an open challenge for the Trios Championship, but it has to be under house rules. Rome, do you happen to have the house rules?
I do. So house rules are as follows. They said that there will be 20-second out of ring counts. You will not be able to hide outside the ring. No rope breaks. DQ is enforced, but it's dealer's choice because fair is fair. So basically, when you challenge them in this open challenge, you can choose whether DQ will be adhered to or not. And whichever you choose is the rule. But no rope breaks, 20-second counters, DQ is optional. I loved this segment. I love the House of Black. I love these rules. Let's fucking go. This was so awesome. This was just
this gave me chills.
Good. Oh my God.
Like
so good.
Anybody in the back, you put 3 guys together, come challenge us, but it's under house rules. Like, dude, I was blown away sitting there watching this. Like, this is genius. This is so absolute genius. Like, this might be my favorite thing going on in AEW right now. And it just started.
Yeah. It was awesome. It was really good.
Oh, so good.
I loved it so much.
And Julia being the one to kind of explain it, man, this girl, she is the future of AEW for sure. Like, she is definitely going to be one of the top girls. I mean,
I actually really agree with you, and I think that has been a very smart move this time around with the House of Black. Is they've booked it in a way, they've really set it up in a way where, like, no matter what happens with Malachi and Buddy, like, if in 3 or 4 years they do want to go back to WWE still, like, this House of Black is set up in a way where Julia and Brody will be just fine without them.
Yeah, I agree.
And they can bring in new members if they need to, like, but like they will be fine without Malachi, and they will be fine without Buddy, because Julia is being centered to be a real star. She has constantly looked phenomenal. She's constantly wrestled the part when she's wrestled. She does the gimmick, even when she's like wrestling Anna Jay. What she's got going on with Anna right now has been really good. Like, she's just killing it on every single level you need to see from a performer, and it's just, they'll be fine. Like, they will be fine with Julia Hart leading the House of Black if they ever come to that.
I mean, I think it would definitely be a bummer, but I think you're right that they would be okay.
But again, I think that's just the intention here. I think by putting Julia more at a center point, which she is, I think both Malachi and Julia take the center point together now, it feels like, because they kind of feed off each other. And so, while it would be a bummer to lose anybody who's good, because Malachi is phenomenal and so is Buddy, but, I mean, after the contract tampering thing, this is the smartest way to go about it, where you're just like, okay, well, we're going to make Malachi and Buddy look like stars, but we're definitely not going to second class Julia and Brody in this faction. Like, this is going to be all of these guys are going to look really cool. There was an artwork, I wish I had saved it, but someone made it of Brody and Julia, and it kind of reminded me of like BioShock, like a Big Daddy Little Sister thing.
Nice.
Where Brody is like this big towering behemoth, and like Julia is just like kind of sitting on his shoulder, as
That's
he's
sick.
walking. I should have saved it. It was so freaking cool. But it was it's
Nice.
awesome.
All right, next up was the Tres de Mayo Battle Royale match, where we had 6-team trios Battle Royale here. This was the Lucha Brothers and Vikingo, Kip, the Butcher and the Blade, QTV, which was QT, Marshall, Hobbs, and Solo. We had the Acclaimed with Daddy Ass, the Dark Order, and Varsity Athletes. I was expecting this to be my favorite thing on the show tonight, and it most certainly was not. Were you disappointed in this like I was?
What were you expecting?
I felt like everybody that I wanted to be in the end of this was eliminated in like the first half. The Lucha Brothers got eliminated like in 2.5 minutes.
What? They weren't.
Hobbs took out the Lucha Brothers like they were like third or fourth out of the ring.
Weren't they like
Weren't
the
they?
third last team remaining or the fourth last team remaining out of like 8 or 9?
No, the only guy left was Vikingo. The Lucha Brothers were gone super soon. It was like everybody that I wanted to be there for the finish was gone. We had Kip Sabian, the Butcher, and the Blade versus the Acclaimed, and Max wasn't even there. It was just Daddy Ass and Bowens versus the entire Kip, Butcher, and Blade. And I was just like, really? This is the ending here? And I had no interest in anybody that won that at a certain point.
So, I mean, I disagree mostly. Number one, and this could be a hot take, that's fine. I was kind of refreshed that the Lucha Brothers and Vikingo went out when they did, because I felt like I was surprised, because I was like, I mean, not,
Yeah,
the
I was
name of the
surprised.
Battle Royale, it's very, it's like the Tres de Mayo, which is 3rd of May, and I'm like, okay, this is just kind of seeming like this is and you have like a really weird pairing of the Lucha Bros and Vikingo. I was like, this just feels like Lucha Bros and Vikingo win this match. It just feels like this is made for them to get these 3 guys on TV together.
Yeah.
And that's cool. But I was very surprised that they did not win it, but like not surprised in a bad way, because I think the Acclaimed winning is the right call here. The Acclaimed are still incredibly over. I think that the Acclaimed are still, like, they're a really hot act. They're still top merch sellers. They're still doing everything they need to do. So if they're not going after the trios titles, which they might be now, I don't know. But like, I think the Acclaimed winning here is absolutely the right call, because it was a trios battle royal. It was not a tag team battle royal. It's a trios battle royal. And I think it made a lot of sense to see the Acclaimed go and win this match.
I agree with that part. I think the Acclaim winning is fine. But like for Kip the Butcher and the Blade to be the last guys there was a little odd for me.
Okay,
For Evil Uno to be, I think he was either the first or second guy knocked out, was super weird to me when he's as over as he is.
What do you mean,
Uno's massively over.
Dork Order? What are you talking about? Get out of here.
Yeah, but it was Johnny Hungy got the big spots towards the end. You know what I mean? And like, I get it, but
there though, Uno had his moment most recently against Mox, so it's like,
okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. I was thinking we kind of ride off of that, but I get it if you're giving the other guy his spot, whatever. But I don't know.
Look,
Something about this just bothered me. I felt like a lot of the guys that I liked were gone real soon.
And that's okay. It's okay for you to feel that. It's because you're a mark, and that's not a bad thing. No, I don't mean that in a bad way.
Oh yeah, I got you.
You're a big Lucha Bros fan, so you were upset when they got eliminated. Like, do you know how my heart cried out? I actually had to go outside and pick up the habit of smoking, and then drop the habit of smoking when QT Marshall got eliminated. How do you think I felt?
Yeah, I get it. Ed agrees with you as well. He says the Lucha Brothers are the well TK can't stop drinking from sometimes. But I mean, yeah, I get it.
That was somewhat sarcasm, by the way.
I get it. It is what it is. I
think at the end of the day, here's how you got to look at it, Jeff. This was the Acclaim's match to win, which I think is the right call. And then in terms of who was going to be left, they wanted to do this outnumbering thing, and they needed a heel team to do it. The only real critique I would say, and actually I don't know if I would say this, because I would have had QTV be the last group.
That's where I'm at, yeah, because we want to get Hobbs out there still.
Before this, they were the third team eliminated, or like the third to last team eliminated, or whatever. They finished third. So like, I'm not super upset. But I mean, at the same time, it also makes sense for the Lucha Bros to eliminate QT. So, like at that point, you can't really do the 2v3 because you're eliminating QT. So you got to look at heels who are going to be foils to a winning Acclaim team that aren't going to take away from the Acclaim's pop. And that's Kip and Butcher and Blade. That was the perfect spot for them.
We got
and
Ed and Coog saying they were hoping for a Dark Order push here. All right.
I don't know. I don't know if that would have made a lot of sense, especially because this is clearly going to lead to who challenges House of Black at some point soon. They said it themselves. Also, though, they pointed out on the commentary that Butcher and Blade have a history of doing well in battle royales in AEW. So It also, from that perspective, makes sense for them to do well in this battle royal.
Yeah, I agree with that part, Ed. That's the whole suspension of disbelief part. It is what it is.
The only thing I'll say is it is criminal that you overlooked a killer line from Max Caster tonight. Talking about the line with like the drone hitting the Kremlin popped me hard. I was like,
I rolled my eyes, to be honest. I thought it sounded like he threw it in there last minute.
Well, I mean, it was a big news story, so I mean, he might have thrown it in there last minute, but I loved it. I popped. I was like, there you go. That's what I want to see. I want to see Max Caster rapping about current events. I pop every single time for stuff like that. Love it.
Yeah, it was decent.
It was great.
But I thought the Battle Royale was okay. It was just very awkward for me, thinking like, oh my God, everybody that I thought was going to be in this is already out. So, whatever. But yeah, Acclaim get the win. Bowens looked great in this. Daddy Ass actually looked great in this. And I think it was Ed in the Discord said, man, Daddy Ass was bigger than everyone in the ring. And you could just see how guys from the 90s were just so much larger, in the sport of professional wrestling.
Putin hated it. I was gonna say Jeffrey Putin over here didn't seem to like the line very much. But yeah, no, I mean, I get it. I thought the match was enjoyable. I had fun with it. And out of the three of the Acclaimed, it made the most sense for Max to be the one eliminated, though, because Anthony Bowens is the workhorse of that team. Yep. Max is kind of the face of it, the star of it.
Yeah.
So I think getting rid of Max.
He talked about Tucker and Don Lemon both getting fired, I believe, last week.
Last week he made a comment.
Yeah, he got them both, Coog. Gave it to both of them.
I agree with Ed. We traded size for athleticism.
Yeah. It is what it is. I'm not a massive fan of those monster dudes from, back in the day anymore. Like, I think each body size had its time in wrestling, you know what I mean? And now that we've gotten to this point of what wrestling is nowadays, I'm not sure guys like that would, be able to exist for very long.
Now, hold on a second, Jeff, because I'm always going to point out your flip-flopping. I have it on good authority, by someone who's known you longer than I've known you, that you once told this person that your favorite wrestler was the Big Show, and that you would send him pictures daily of like the Big Show working out.
I have vehemently denied this multiple times, but you still love to believe the fake news. Reported by Don Lemon of CNN, by the way. Fake news central there.
I'm just both sides of the news are very fake, Jeffrey.
I don't know where that rumor started, but I can equivalently tell you that it is not true.
Told me. We were driving to Full Gear about last November, and he's
gonna believe. Okay, so I know who this is now. You're gonna believe Juhas? Come on.
Yes, I am gonna believe Juhas. I'm absolutely going to believe Juhas. You know why? Because while we were driving, you were sending me pictures of a Star Wars tie saying like, I'm going to cosplay as Jeff Jarrett with this Star Wars tie. And I'm like, how the fuck is that a Jeff Jarrett cosplay?
I just needed a tie. I was just asking a recommendation on a tie. It had nothing to do with
it. Yes, Jeff loves the Big Show. Jeff actually said that if I recall correctly, Jeff said that about to expose Jeffrey Vegas. So he would tell Juhas that he's like, oh, I know this guy that works out with the Big Show. Like, he sent me this picture of him working out, and so Jeff sends the picture to Juhas, Juha says like the day after he looked up Big Show working out on Google, and it was the exact same picture. Oh man.
So he's saying that I said that I knew a guy working out with the Big Show.
Yeah, then you said Juha's like this picture of Big Show working out, but it was just like a picture from Google.
I remember sending him that picture, but it's not like I was being a teenager like, hey, look, my friend was working out with the Big Show.
Or some, I don't know. But I mean, at the end of the day, there is some truth to this. You just admitted that you've sent this picture.
I remember sending him that photo. Yes, I do, actually. That was like...
All right, there you go, folks. It is confirmed.
That's like 8 years ago. Holy shit.
We don't forget things, Jeff. What do you...
That was a long time ago. I think what that picture was is when the Big Show had gotten all jacked and he was like, boom, in the
yeah. I know. You like the big guys. I got it. You like Omos and Braun Strowman, all those guys. Great. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
I got to find the context of why I sent him that picture now. But let's get back to our review here. Next up, we had Sammy Guevara with Renee Paquette backstage. Of course, MJF had to join us in this backstage segment. And, right away, Sammy Guevara calls out MJF. He goes, I watched back Dynamite, and I saw that car was empty. And we were laughing about it. MJF tried to say the car was full, bud, but it was obviously an empty limousine. So Max starts breaking down like he's crying, saying he's got a bad back from carrying this company for so long. And he needed to lay down in the back seat of the limo. And Sammy completely falls for it. This was hilarious.
It really was. This is a really good segment. These guys are they just have so much chemistry together. MJF was hamming it up. Max was hilarious. Sammy was hilarious. This was all around a very, very funny segment. Very entertaining.
Dude, I don't know what it is about Sammy and MJF. I did not think it was going to work as well as it's working with these two. It's freaking hilarious every time they're doing these promo segments with Renee. I love it. All right, next up, we had Kenny and Don Callis cutting a promo on Mox. And oh my God, this might have been my favorite promo by Don Callis ever. I know I got a little ahead of myself there in Discord, Ed, saying it was better than some Paul Heyman stuff. I was just caught up in the moment, but man, this, in my opinion, this was Don Callis' best work in AEW right here.
Okay.
I loved his delivery. He wasn't yelling. He didn't have that like annoying, I don't want to say Canadian thing because, I love my Canadians. He didn't have that annoying Don Callis like snarkiness to it. It was more of like, we're pissed off and we're going to kick Moxley's ass. You know what I mean? Like, I fucking loved it.
So I'm going to point out a few things to you here, Jeff, as I like to do. Some of it may mean something. Some of it may not. But I'm going to do it anyway. So, number one, this was billed as we will hear from the elite. Who did we hear from, Jeff?
Kenny and Don Callis.
Kenny and Don Callis. And so there was no Bucks. We won't even touch the Hangman thing, but there was no Bucks. I kind of saw this as Don manipulating Kenny further.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to get Kenny separated from the Bucks. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a little thing on BTE this upcoming Monday where like there's something like, oh, Bucks are like, oh, we got to get to TV. And then like there's like a note from Don or something where it's like they misleads them. Like I'm just saying, like, look out for that on Monday because I think there might be something like that. Might be, maybe not. I don't know. The second thing that I noted was, so Don talks about his scar. He shows it, real nasty scar. Obviously, it was a shoot scar. He was meant to just be knocked down. He fell on the ground, cut himself on a piece of a lighting that was there. Jeff, Don Callis forced to bleed at the hands of the Blackpool Combat Club. What is the one rule to join the Blackpool Combat Club?
You got to bleed with him.
Don bled with him. And then keep in mind in the seclusion of Don that Don has going on, when Kenny is talking about his issues with Mox and the Blackpool Combat Club, he talks about how they hurt the Bucks. He talks about how they hurt Takeshita. He talks about how they hurt Don. He talks about they hurt him he doesn't mention Hangman, and again, that's intentional. I also just found a lot of meaning in the phrase that Kenny says, "Everything comes to an end in Detroit." I think that next week is the week. It's a steel cage match. I think Moxley's going to win, and I think you're going to see Takeshita and Callis turn on Kenny Omega next week.
Oh, really? You think Tax turning in the cage?
I think so. I think that a
Ooh.
cage match is the way you can do it because you can lock Takeshi. Like, I could see them kind of trying to do a thing where it's like Kenny needs help, and like Don gets Takeshita in the cage before the Bucks can even get out there, and then like they lock them in, and the Bucks are trying to get in. Like, we want to help, and then all of a sudden, like Don and Takeshita just turn on Kenny and they just bloody him and destroy him.
Oh man,
That's just a prediction.
I'd lose my
But
shit.
I would just like to, I like to make predictions on the record. I am the reigning, defending, broken predictions champion for a reason.
Could
Which
you
Jeffrey Vegas.
imagine going off air with the Bucks trying to get in the cage and Kenny just getting beat down and they can't save him and we go off air?
Yes. Yeah, I think that this is I think that's the way that they're going to go with it. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it's going to move along the storyline. I mean, keep in mind, so Double or Nothing is on the 28th, I believe, of this month. So you got 1, 2, 3. You got 4 more Dynamites to go before you get to Double or Nothing. So I mean, it's just about the time where it makes sense for the match to start coming together. So I mean, yeah, because then you'll have 3 weeks to go before the pay-per-view with that match. So yeah, that's what I would do. I think that next week in the cage, you're going to have Don and Soup turn on him. They're going to turn on him, and
Oof.
it's going to be good. And then,
Yeah, that's gonna be
so
wild if that happens.
I think that the way that they have the story set up with like Matt never telling Nick about it and everything. So here's my prediction. I was going to mention this in the Discord. I figured I would save it for the show because this would be a really cool way to do it. So here's what I could envision happening. So next week, they do the cage match, and like I said, everything goes down that way where Don turns on him, Takeshita turns on him, and Kenny gets annihilated. And you're looking at the Elite, and they have never been weaker. Matt and Nick. That could actually be a good reason why they're not at the cage. Maybe Matt and Nick, like that breakup happens with them or something. I know it'll probably happen afterwards. Anyways, I think that what's going to happen is Hangman's going to return, and he's going to say, at Double or Nothing, I want the Blackpool Combat Club, and I want the Elite to join me against the Blackpool Combat Club. And then I think you're going to see Hangman trying to get everyone to come together. I think you're going to see him go to Matt, him go to Nick, him go to Kenny, and I think that the only one that will be willing at first is Matt. Like I could see it being like, will the Outlaw, will the Cowboy show up by himself or with backup? And I could see them doing it where like he tries to make a case to everybody to bring them together, and then like come the show, Hangman comes out, and you're like, who's gonna join him? Like who's gonna show up when they need him? And then like one by one they all come out because you can have the discourse between Matt and Nick with this whole Matt never told Nick about the Kenny thing either. So it's like by them doing that story beat, because again they don't do these things for no reason. I could just see it being like where even Matt and Nick are kind of like at odds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're gonna do it. That's just something I think would be really cool. Where it's like Hangman goes out there and he's like, "Will someone show up?" Because they could say, "Well, Matt and Nick aren't getting along right now. Kenny still doesn't trust Hangman." And then like you could say something like, "Well, Matt gets his arm is an issue, and maybe he gets jumped before the pay-per-view, so you're not even sure if he makes it." So Hangman goes out there and he's like, "One way or another, we're doing this. It's just if these guys are going to join me." And then like Matt comes out, and then Nick comes out, and then Kenny comes out, and then they're like, "Well, we still need one more guy." And Kenny's like, "I got it." And then he points to the back, and then there comes Kota Ibushi, and then there you go. You got the 10-man tag, BCC versus the Elite. Bam, pay-per-view.
Let's go.
We'll see if I'm right. It's fun to predict things, and I would like to be right. We'll see.
Yeah, we shall see. All right, next up, we had Wardlow versus some guy. Got powerbombed a bunch of times in the Symphony, and 1, 2, 3, squash match for Wardlow. I feel like his momentum is back. The crowd loves it again. He gets on the mic and he says he ain't done yet, and he calls out Christian Cage and Luchasaurus. Christian Cage comes out, but he says, "You know what? Your opponent's not going to be Luchasaurus first. It's going to be me." So, are we gonna have Christian Cage going after the TNT Championship first? Is that how that's working?
That's what it seems like. I don't know. It's not that I have an issue with Christian going for the belt, and it's not that I have an issue with Luchasaurus or Christian in general. I just didn't really care about this. Um, you said that like Wardlow is back to his momentum, and that's fine. These squash matches only do so much for me.
Yeah, I
Uh,
agree. I agree.
if Wardlow is not a TNT champion, it's one thing. But the thing is, if you're the TNT champion, I expect you to be defending that championship when you wrestle on TV. Um, and this is the second week in a row where he did not wrestle for the championship on TV. Find that as an issue personally. I'm sure Wardlow Christian's going to be pretty cool. Interested to see how they do it because obviously Christian's going to be a chicken shit heel about it. But I mean, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, for me, this was, I guess I would call this my low point. I don't think anything else was. Well, I mean, I have a sad confession to make about the Ricky Starks Juice Robinson match in which that I missed it because of something in Discord. But yeah, no, I mean, I for me this was the low point of the night. I think everything else tonight was generally like very good or above. This was just like okay, it's kind of like it's a squash with Wardlow and Arn comes out and says what he said last week, and then Christian comes out, and it's not a problem with Christian. I don't know. I just wasn't really vibing.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how that is. You know, they did kind of mess up the whole thing with Wardlow a while back, but I do think we're at the end of the squash match rope here. I don't think we should be doing any more of these. You know, throw out some no name guy, squash him. I think that ship is gone. We need to do something more meaningful here. But you know, it was what it was. We should be getting Christian versus Wardlow, I guess. So we'll see where that goes. Next up, we got Jeff Jarrett, Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh at the chicken farm. This was awesome, man. I absolutely loved Satnam in his overalls. That shit was hilarious. Papa Briscoe showing up might be one of my new favorite people. This was great.
This was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, and I fucking loved it.
Goofy wrestling, man. Gotta love it.
This was so funny. This was hilarious. I was dying. They showed up on his farm, two of them in overalls. I don't know where they got overalls for Satnam. I don't know where they got overalls for Satnam Singh, but they got them in overalls. But the true funny thing is that they didn't all wear overalls. Like they didn't all want to commit to the bit. Sanjay and Satnam committed to the bit, and
Oh yeah.
Jeff's like, I'm just showing up in worker boots. I'm a cowboy anyway, and Jay
Satnam's
Lethal,
hair was just everywhere.
and Jay Lethal's like, I'm gonna show up in jeans, guys. Like that's torn jeans too, so that was funny.
Yeah.
But no, it was hilarious. And then like they're like, oh, look at the beautiful baby girl, and he's like, it's my son,
He's like, boy.
boy. Uh,
Oh, it was so good. They were basically saying they wanted to help on the farm. So, you know, Briscoe took them around. They helped on the farm for a little while. It was absolutely hilarious. And then at the very end, they say, you know, you guys beat FTR. You know, you got any tips for us? And I think obviously that's where we were leading here. They're trying to, you know, butter up Mark Briscoe to give him some tips on how to beat FTR. This was great. I just thought it was absolute genius. It was one of the dumbest things, but hilarious at the same time. And this is the type of goofy stuff I love in my wrestling. I absolutely loved it.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
And again, just to kind of hammer that home, that point again is they could have very easily done a pre-tape backstage and accomplished all of this. But instead, they put some effort into it. They went to his chicken farm and they did this whole thing, and it was so much better for it. They could have just done a thing where like they're in catering and they bring Mark something, or they're talking really they're buttering Mark up in person at backstage, and instead they're like, no, like this was so much better. Like do things like this, do unique, different looking things that are memorable, and it was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you too, Ed. Anything Briscoe related, a little bittersweet, but you know, I am glad that he is getting his time on TV because it's very, you know, it's worth it. So, all right, next up we had Ricky Starks versus Juice Robinson. Juice came out with Jay White, who was dressed up like Ricky Starks, which was funny. But Jay White did leave and went back to the back, which is not normal for the Bullet Club. Bullet Club usually likes to have the numbers ringside, but it is what it is here in this one. They had a great match here. Ricky Starks and Juice had a freaking awesome match. You said you missed it. There was a spot where they moved the stairs away from the ring, and Ricky Starks picked up Juice Robinson into just a regular body slam position, but he walked up the steps to the top of the steps and then body slammed him on the outside of the ring. It was nasty, and it looked so good for Ricky picking him up and walking up the steps. Absolutely loved that spot.
So I did see that spot.
Okay, yeah, that was great.
Ricky
winds up picking up.
There was just dumb stuff being said on Discord about scalpers not being lame, and it just completely distracted me for the whole match.
And Ricky Starks picks up the 1-2-3 here with a big Rochambeau. But Jay White does show up afterwards and he attacks Ricky from behind. Ricky does fight back though, and he almost hits Jay White with the Rochambeau, and Juice Robinson has to save Jay White. So, Ricky looking strong here. Ricky comes out on top and looks strong, standing tall in the ring. So that's a good one. I had fun with this. You said you kind of missed it, but did you see the end of that there where Ricky was standing tall?
I did see I saw that.
Yeah. I thought this was great, man. Everybody's kind of upset Jay White's just not immediately put into like some feud at the top of the show. And I'm like, you got to let him build a little bit, man. Let him cook. Come on, this is a perfect feud for Jay White. Ricky Starks, I think it's perfect.
Yeah, no, this is really good. I mean, look, Jay White will get involved in things. He'll do his things, but he just got here. Like, let him have a good feud with Ricky Starks. What's wrong with Ricky Starks? Stop hating on Ricky Starks. What's wrong?
I agree. Nothing wrong with Ricky Starks at all.
Yeah.
Next up, we had Ethan Page and a Matt Hardy video package, kind of recapping their feud and best friendship, I guess, if you will. This was a decent little video package. Just did what it needed to do for our upcoming, match at the compound. Now, when is that match? Is that going to be on Rampage?
What, the firm deletion?
Yes.
Yes, it is. It's this Friday.
Hell yeah.
Which I am so... We'll talk about it after the show. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. All right, next up, we had Jungle Boy and Darby Allin backstage kind of hyping each other up in the locker room. I thought this was pretty cool. They were kind of like smacking each other in the chest, hyping each other up before the match. And just as Darby walks off, MJF creeps in and starts whispering to Jungle Boy, like, hey, it'd be really cool if you, told Darby to go F himself and you kind of, let us win this match here, This was one of the first times where it's really come to mind where like the light bulb went off over my head where MJF is the devil, just like really trying to pin everybody against each other. And he's just that voice, you know what I mean? Like this was done really well for the whole MJF is the devil thing. I really enjoyed, this little pre-bit to the match.
Yeah, I completely agree. I thought it was awesome. It was really good. Really well done, like you said, it's a double win for him because not only is he trying to get Jack in his pocket, he knows that Jack probably won't go for it, but so he's just going to try to make it look like there's some dissension in the ranks between Jack and Darby.
Absolutely. Great way to start off the match. So we start off this match here. We got Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Darby Allin versus MJF and Sammy Guevara. If Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Darby win, this becomes a 4-way. If MJF and Sammy Guevara win, that's your double or nothing main event, MJF versus Sammy Guevara. And the music mashup for Sammy and MJF's music together, it worked way too well.
So good.
I thought it worked way too well. It felt like it was meant to be like that. I thought it was great.
It worked so well. It was crazy how good it worked. Like I was shocked.
I was like, for a second, I was like, isn't this MJF's normal music? But then you hear the Sammy Guevara rap on top of it. Like, it was so good. So well done. The funny part of this one is Sammy and MJF do paper, rock, scissors to see who starts the match. So Sammy loses, but MJF's like, no, go ahead. And he just has Sammy start the match anyway. I was like, what was the point of even doing the paper, rock, scissors at that point?
Well, yeah, that's the point, Jeff.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But this match kicked ass, man. Jungle Boy looked absolutely incredible here. And, you know, if anybody was wondering how good a 4-way is going to be at Double or Nothing, you know, for your hard-earned money at a pay-per-view, I think you got a really good idea here because this match kicked ass. Like, it really did.
Yeah, I love the story that was being told during the match. Obviously with the 4 pillars and how everything kind of devolved. My only gripe with it, I only have one issue. And my issue is that I felt like Sammy should have been the one to abandon MJF here, and that should have been the reason why they lost. Because at this point, if you go and you watch everything, it really still seems like Sammy was just going to end up taking the money. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's my only critique here. Where like Sammy should not have taken the money. Like Sammy should have used it, and then like especially after Ty last week with her great promo on Rampage, which we didn't do a show, but it was a great promo by Ty on Rampage. That I felt like it was kind of needed for Sammy to be the one to turn on Max here, especially after how clearly Max is manipulating him, and Sammy knows this. Sammy clearly knows this.
He did though, didn't he? He wound up punching him.
But not until Max started provoking him in the match.
Yeah, Max had to slap him before he hit him.
Max had to like slap him, and there was something else that happened, I think, where it was like he was trying to tag in and just he was trying to get the glory without any of the work. So every time Sammy was going to go for a pin, he would tag himself in. And again, like I don't have an issue with any of it, but it just at the end of the day, Sammy should have. I actually thought of a really smart finish, and maybe people wouldn't have liked it, but they don't really do DQs very often. I would have had Sammy low blow in front of Bryce, someone on the other team, and that would have been the perfect way to do it. Where like Sammy would have gotten a low blow one of the people he doesn't like. He would have been like, "Screw you, Max. I don't care. I want the world title." And then at the same time, MJF would have been like, "What did you just do?" And then you could do the thing where the two of them fight. Like there were ways you could have went about it. I just think that at the end of the day, with the way it was presented, it just seems like Sammy was okay with taking the money and laying down, which is very contradictory to what he said in his promos the last month and a half, 2 months, really ever, saying that he wants to be the champion. It's all he ever wanted. It's all he wants. But at no point do we ever really get the vibe that he wasn't going to take the money. Like, if you go back and watch the whole thing, yeah, and Ned's right. They already had a DQ finish, but again, there's still ways you could have gone about it. Maybe Sammy like jumps off the apron and doesn't take a tag from Max, or maybe Sammy lays down and takes a pin for one of them, and he's like, "Hey, you wanted me to lay down and take a pin? I didn't tell you when it was going to happen." Like, there are so many little things you could have done, whether it be a clean finish or not. I think that Sammy, and this is just me being analytical, which is just how I look at these storylines and these characters, and I usually applaud AEW because everything usually makes sense logically, but this is kind of like a one moment where it isn't logical.
Well, it could go back to my MJF is the devil thing. He's got Sammy Guevara completely fucking brainwashed. You know what I mean? All the whispering in his ear, they're best friends now. Like,
I get that.
It took MJF slapping him.
I get that, but I still think that at the end of the day, like, Sammy should have caught on because that makes Sammy look like a geek then.
Yeah. I agree with that though, but I have to admit I absolutely loved the finish to this, where Jungle Boy hits Sammy with I forget the move. He hits him with his elbow strike to the back of the head thing. He goes to cover Sammy, but the ref's like, "No, you're not the legal man." And he points, and Darby Allin is up on the top rope. Jungle Boy looks up, and he's still pinning Sammy. he looks up and Darby Allin is midway into his coffin drop. And if Jungle Boy doesn't roll out of the way, Darby Allin would have landed right on Jungle Boy. But I mean, with absolute timing perfection, Jungle Boy rolls out of the way and Darby Allin smashes Sammy with the coffin drop, picks up the 1-2-3. Aside from what you said with, Sammy should have turned on MJF kind of, this finish, the way that Jungle Boy went for the cover, but he wasn't legal. Bryce points at the top rope and you see Darby. That was so well done. I loved it. It was one of my favorite finishes to a match in a long time.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, the match itself was great and the finish was awesome, and I'm excited for this four-way dance. I think it's going to be a really, really good match.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that whole pay-per-view.
Yep.
All right, so that was it for Dynamite tonight. I thought we had a fantastic Dynamite. Just that one low point for me was the trios match, and I think for you was the Wardlow match. So still, I thought it was a great episode of Dynamite here tonight.
Yeah,
What do we got? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, no, I was just gonna kind of say, yeah, it was an excellent episode of Dynamite. I really enjoyed it. I mean, we're getting close to the, we're on the road to Double or Nothing, and things are going to start taking shape in the next few weeks. And I think that AEW is in a really good place right now. I mean, obviously, Dark and Elevation are done. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a very exciting month for the company. I think this May is going to be a very good one for them. They're going to most likely get the TV deal announced this month, which just means that they can put more money into things. They can pay wrestlers more. It's awesome news for them. That exclusivity deal, Jeff, let me tell you, that exclusivity deal says a lot of things to me. All of them good.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you got to look at it that way. Like, there's so many things that are breaking AEW's way that are also helping them. The Writers Guild, so like that Warner, and I know that like they usually just replay a bunch of movies, but with the Writers Guild going on, that content is more valuable. So even if it's going to drive that price up for them, I would imagine. And then you got to look at it like, if they want content exclusivity, they got to be talking to them about the streaming service.
Oh
like
yeah.
Max, like they have to be. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great month for them. Great show. They hired Will Washington today, and that was really exciting. Shout out to
Yeah, that
Will.
was great.
He's one of the better Twitter followers out there. I've mentioned him before, and like I was pretty shocked. I popped. I was like on Twitter like 5 minutes before the show, and they were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, he got an all elite graphic and everything." I was like, "This is really cool. This is really awesome. It's great."
Yeah, that was really cool. So what do we got going for Rampage this week? Another 5:30 show.
6:30. 6:30.
No, last week was 6:30. This week they said 5:30, didn't they?
Yeah, they said 6:30, so it's gonna be on 6:30, which works for me, but I know it doesn't work for you, because I work 9 to 5 on Friday, so I'll be watching Rampage as it happens. Sorry, excuse me. So, all right, Rampage. We got the firm deletion at the Hardy compound. This was filmed last week. It's going to be a cinematic match. It's going to be the Hardys, Hook and Isaiah Cassidy versus Stoke, Lee Moriarty, Ethan Page, and Big Bill. I really love the cinematic matches. I find them very enjoyable, very entertaining. It's nice that we're going to be doing one. I also really love this choice to do it on Rampage. I thought that this was such a really smart idea. Instead of having it during one of your live broadcasts, this is exactly the kind of content that you should be putting on a taped show.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah.
Loved it. Because it's like doing it on pay-per-view can kind of suck for, like that's why they stopped doing these, like the Stadium Stampede, because once you have a live crowd, you don't want your live pay-per-view crowd to be watching a match on the screen. So it kind of sucks. But to have this this filmed and do a cinematic match on a taped show where no one's going to miss out live, like that's great. Love it. Also on Friday, we have Mark Briscoe versus Preston Vance, and Jade Cargill will be in action. Oh, and the Lucha Bros and El Hijo del Vikingo versus QTV. And then,
okay, we'll get QTV versus the Lucha Brothers. All right.
Yep, and Vikingo. Next week on Dynamite, big week from Detroit. Orange Cassidy will be defending the International Championship against Daniel Garcia. We will hear from the AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR. Steel cage match, Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley.
Okay.
I always forget to do the
Got some
fast.
good stuff coming up, man. I can't wait for that cage match. That's gonna be insane all around. Storyline, match wise. Oh, it's gonna be so good. I can't wait for that. Now, Ed's making a good point here in chat about the writer's strike that's going on television. A lot of shows are going to be, without new episodes coming up. I don't know about this year because a lot of them already have scripts written for the next few episodes or possibly for the whole season. But I think once this catches up to the shows, do you think we're going to see some boosted ratings maybe in some AEW? Something like
Well,
that?
again, I think AEW and WWE, to be honest as well, are both
Yeah.
going to really benefit from this. As much as I don't want WWE to benefit, I think both companies will benefit from this, where their value is going to go up in terms of TV. So Ed also mentions that the last strike only lasted a few months. From what I've read, and I'm not an expert, I'm not going to claim to be, but from what I've read, the demands of the writers are apparently, and what the guild is willing to do are very off.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so this could be a deadlock type deal where there is not even close to being close to like a middle ground. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But I mean, if it goes
Yeah.
on long enough, it won't affect TV now, but they will catch up. Like if these writers aren't working and they don't work for 6 or 7 months, because I don't know how long it's going to go on for. But if they don't work for long enough, this kind of content, pro wrestling and sports,
Ed
and
says this is his realm. Keep us informed, Ed. Let us know what's up, man. Because this could be pretty crazy. But I also think AEW, a lot of their competition for ratings was Fox News with Tucker Carlson. And I don't know if anybody's noticed, but they've lost all their ratings since firing Tucker Carlson. So that's not even close to being on the radar anymore. Like literally, we don't even have to think about them being above AEW anymore in the ratings. I think all around, some of these ratings are going to start going up here.
yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. We should see that happening. I mean, Tucker Carlson was their draw. People really liked what he had to say. I'm not sure why, but people were into it.
Yeah, man. It's pretty wild. He was basically all of their ratings, and it looks like people liked him more than actual Fox News. So that's an interesting one. But keep us up to date, Ed. There's the link for Discord if you want to hang out with us in our Discord. We are always in the Discord, hanging out with each other, shooting shit, arguing. All of it, all the above. You got anything else you wanted to go over tonight here, Rome?
Oh, I feel like there might have been something, but I can't recall.
You got anybody else you're going to be adding to the tournament besides Coach Nick, or is that all for tonight?
No, I'm going to be adding someone else. I meant, like, was there anything else in wrestling related? I'm trying to think because we started the show with the tickets. All Ends doing really well. That's exciting. I can't wait to see the general sale. What happens with the general sale on Friday? That's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh wow, I can't wait. Absolutely, we are definitely going to be doing a show on Friday. You're not working, you said?
Yeah, I'm 9 to 5 on Friday, so I'll be available Friday night for the show.
Perfect. So we will be doing a Rampage show. I think we might try doing it around 10 if that's okay with you. I don't get off till 8, and we'll do it after
Yeah, it's
the
fine.
old smack-a-down.
No worries.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for hanging out with us here tonight. We had Ed, we had the Coog. Oh, we had the Doge linking us to Discord. Thank you, Doge. We had Coach Nick in here earlier. I'm pretty sure we even had our boy Jordan was here earlier. Thank you guys all for joining us here. We had Michael. If I missed anybody, I apologize. But Rome, you want to go ahead and close us out, sir?
Well, I would first like to once again thank everybody. The reception for the King's Court Invitational has been phenomenal, to be honest. People seem generally excited, and I'm also very excited that the tournament's happening. I put out a full press release on the Discord in the announcements tab. Please take the time to go and read it. Let me know, I'm open to hear people's exciting comments and stuff like that because, again, as head booker, I take a lot of pride in it, and I really enjoy seeing other people find enjoyment from my work. It's awesome. Now, that being said, it is time to announce the fourth competitor out of 8 in the King's Court Invitational. So this next person that I'm inviting, he unfortunately was not with us tonight, but at the end of the day, this man has been a thorn in the side of one Jeffrey Vegas for nearly 8 years. And I think that alone is extremely meritable. I think that there are a lot of merits to what this guy brings to the table. Some may
Please,
call him a
no.
disruptor. Some may call him trash. I call him my friend, and he's a hell of a competitor. We went to a New Japan show a few weeks ago, New Japan pay-per-view in the ECW arena, ringside. I was sitting next to this guy as I watched Lance Archer crack Fred Rosser's skull open. I was like, this guy is tournament material. So Joe Juhas, you are officially invited into the King's Court Invitational. I can't wait to see you cut a scathing promo on Jeffrey Vegas. It's probably the leading reason why you are in the tournament, just so you can cut a promo on Jeffrey Vegas. But you're also a top tier competitor who I know very good chance I'll see you in the finals, but I'm looking forward to it regardless.
Oh, jeez.
Can't wait.
Had to pick him for the tournament, huh?
Again, I'm picking the best of the best, the cream of the crop, and Jeffrey Vegas. But that being said, we are getting closer to Double or Nothing. I actually have to make sure that I have enough time because I'm trying to do this in a somewhat regular schedule. Let's see if I do the next week. That's 2, and the next week that's 2. Yeah, that works. That actually works out perfectly. I didn't plan this out to be as good as it is, but I have perfect amount of time. Anyways, that is the next 2 participants. So just to recap, we have Jeffrey Vegas, the Coog, Coach Nick, and Juhas all are entered into the tournament. Once again, just a reminder of the bracket. I hope Jeff is working on a fancy graphic for the bracket.
We'll
But
have one.
it is the first round will be held at Double or Nothing. It is a single elimination tournament where we will be going through. I have some other little rules cooking up that I think will be an interesting shakeup to how we do things, but more details will come in time. But yeah, first round at Double or Nothing, and I'm very excited to see how this goes.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
All right, well, that's gonna do it for us here. This has been episode 139 of the Broken Tables podcast. Thank you to everyone hanging out with us here tonight. As Jeff said earlier, really appreciate everyone doing that. Please hit the like button and subscribe on your way out if you haven't already. Really appreciate that as well. You can follow us on our social medias down below. Follow me on Twitter. Just also a little hint or tip. Those entered into the tournament will need to either follow me on Twitter or be friends with me in Discord due to rules of the tournament, which I will explain in the future. So please make sure you get on that if you're not already. I'll follow you back. That's how it goes. But until next time, we will see you guys on Friday.
All right, like he said, till next time, top guys out.